2. Hello. Hello, check 2. What's up? What's up? Hello, I'm not muted. That's not true. That's not accurate. I'm gonna have to ban the bit. I'm gonna have to ban the ongoing bit of people telling me I'm muted when I'm not muted. I tell you what, I'm sick of the Automaton Menace. Marty, we got owned pretty hard a couple times last night. It was fun. We made it through the campaign. We made it through the mission. We kind of got our asses handed to us a little bit though, but it's okay. We have the Dan ban now. It's the mute scoot. I think we all know, folks, that the Dan ban is not legitimate. It's not really enforced anymore, is it? Like, let's be real here. Let's be real. It's not really enforced, nor is it fair. It's a non-binding, exactly. It's a non-binding ban. I've determined retroactively that it's non-binding. It's non-binding, the Dan ban. Anyway, sorry that I'm late today getting started. I don't have a lot of time. I'm not going to be on for a long time today. I'm with my son. He didn't go to school today because he's not feeling very well. You probably might hear him cough off camera at some point. I just thought I would come and hang out for a little bit, say hello, try to get some subs, try to see if we can move some subscriptions for the Twitch Corporation, because I can't really afford to like take days off to do dad stuff. I can't really financially afford to do that. So I'm trying to see if I can just log in today, hang out a little bit, and hopefully, as I said, move a few little measly subscriptions for the Twitch Corporation. Oh man, Marty, don't. I mean, there's plenty of artists you could make that argument about, including Steely Dan, frankly. But I don't think you should do that. I don't think it's a good idea to do that. In fact, I'm pleading with you not to do that. But yes, it would get ugly really quick. From all sides.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Who's this? Bon. Thanks for the gifted sub. Thank you for that. I won't, because I know someone will hit me back with Limp Bizkit and it's over for me. I mean, it's really all of popular music for the last century, Marty. You know what I mean? It was jazz, and then it was the blues, and then it was rock and roll, and then it was hip hop. You know, like I'm probably skipping some genres, but it's like literally every genre of popular music has essentially been stolen whole cloth from black culture and black artists and musicians and singers and songwriters. That is, I mean, it is an interesting discussion to have.
Some leftist based in Canada. I was turned on to this sick
goodness,
individual, and I
Nick.
found this.
Raid, thank you, one of my trusted hell diving squad mates. Once you've hell dived with someone, as I have with Ugopnik a couple times now, you develop a lifelong bond, a lifelong connection. So I very much appreciate the raid from my brother, really. You really know them. And you know yourself as well. I appreciate the raid from Ugopnik. If you're just coming in here for the raid, please do, if you can, smash the old follow button. I'm Rob. It's nice to talk to you. I do this show here on Twitch every single day, TRRS, where we have a subversive analysis of news and politics, and try to deprogram ourselves. In another similarity with our friend Ugopnik, try to deprogram ourselves from the Western propaganda that we're constantly inundated with. That's what we do over here on this stream every single day. He said the word exactly. That's what we do on this stream every single day. So if you can, please do follow. And as I said before, this is mostly just going to be a shorter stream today. Normally I do this show for around 3 or 4 hours a day. I'm parenting today. My kid is home sick from school. You might be able to hear him coughing in the other room at some point during the next little bit. So I can't really sit here for the next 4 hours and stream because I have to take care of him and stuff. I can't really just put him in front of the TV for the next 4 hours and be like, okay, just take care of yourself. You're going to be fine. I mean, I could do that, but I don't think that I should. You know what I mean? So I am just kind of doing a brief check-in, just saying hello.
Of the friendship triangle.
Oh my goodness, Echo Waves. Thank you so much, Echo Waves, for the 5 gifted subs. That's in fact what I was just about to sit. That's what I was actually just about to say, which is that seeing as I only have a limited amount of time, I am hoping to, if possible, move some Twitch subscriptions for the good old Twitch Corporation, and funnel some money upwards to the wealthiest man in the world, Jeff Bezos,
to talk you through all this.
Who's basically my boss.
TRRS Friendship Triangle.
Thanks, Cauldron of Bats, for the 14 months of Tier 1. I appreciate that. And that's it. So I guess maybe this is a big ask, considering we just met. But if you can, please do subscribe to this program. It's very, very helpful, and it helps keep this show on the air. And if you have an Amazon Prime account, as most people do, because we've just been we've basically been coerced by this corporation to pay for this service. If you do have an Amazon Prime account, you can very easily convert that to a Twitch Prime sub and subscribe to this channel completely free of charge. Completely free of charge. You can do so if you have an Amazon Prime account. Marty, you fucked it up. You fucked it up. So yeah, if you can, please do subscribe or gift subs or tip or give bits, whatever you can, if possible. It helps support me in the work that I do on here. And it allows me to take this time off to hang out with my sick son today. Because I don't get things like days off. I don't get sick leave or any of that stuff. If I don't do this stream, then I just don't make money. Which I need to be able to pay for housing and food, medicine, other items, which I exchange. The money that I make from doing the stream, I exchange it for goods and services. Which is kind of it's the whole thing, right? Oh my goodness. Have you tried having a son that is not sick? I have, yeah, and most of the time, that's the case. Just unfortunately not right at this moment. Try rebooting, just turn him off and on again. Yeah, maybe that'll help. Just unplug and plug it back in. Just blow on him. Blow on the cartridge. That fixes everything. You guys have kids that aren't sick? I know, it's hard to imagine. Try feeding him a Costco hot dog. I actually just did feed him hot dogs literally 10 minutes ago. I made him some hot dogs for lunch. Not from Costco. And in fact, if I tried to give him a hot dog in a bun, he wouldn't eat it. He only eats hot dogs bunless. He would not eat it if I gave him a hot dog and a bun. He's on keto. That's right. He a corn dog fan? No. I tried to get him on those as well, and he wasn't into it. Bunless, skinless hot dogs. No, I don't skin them. No. The sausage pancake things. We could try that. We would see how it goes. I don't know though. Corn dogs were a staple for me growing up. They were a staple for me more when I was like a preteen. Definitely not when I was that age. I didn't eat a lot of them when I was like 8 years old, but definitely like early high school and stuff. I would come home from school and my mom wouldn't be home yet, and I would eat pogos. Which I do enjoy, but no, I don't think he would be into it, unfortunately. I ate hot dogs and I still can't turn down a corn dog at a fair. I very much enjoy hot dogs. It's actually one of the frustrating things about Montreal. World-class food city. One of the absolute best food cities literally in the world. But because of some weird bylaws, we don't have like street food or like cart food because of some kind of whatever bylaws prevent people from doing that. You have some food trucks that go to like certain areas at designated times. But we don't have like halal carts, or we don't have hot dog carts either. And that's the one I like. I love the hot dog cart hot dogs. Like that's when I'm in Toronto, I always get some of that, you know? I definitely miss that because I enjoy a good hot dog. I think a good hot dog is just fantastic. Halal cart top tier. Yeah, I mean, I get that kind of food pretty easily, but just not out of a cart. I love the yellow rice. Those halal carts with the yellow rice. And you get the garlic sauce on there. Ooh, baby. And the meat or whatever. Ooh, baby. Probably the best hot dog I ever had was a street vendor in Reykjavik. Yeah, I had a lot of great hot dogs when I was in Prague. Prague has very good hot dogs, and they were cheap as well. I probably ate like a ton of hot dogs when I was there. They were very tasty. Lamb on rice, red sauce, white sauce, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. The Icelandic dog stand fucked. Yeah, and Korean corn dogs. Not the hot dogs, but there is because I live in a neighborhood with a lot of Korean people. There's a lot of Korean restaurants and Korean grocery and everything, and there's a Korean corn dog place which is so good. It's just so good. Ketchup on burgers, mustard on hot dogs. Yeah, I don't agree with that, Dr. Awesome. I don't put ketchup on burgers often. Usually, like if it comes with ketchup, like a Whopper, I believe has ketchup on it, I'll get that. And I like a Whopper is a very solid fast food hamburger. But when I make a hamburger, it's mayo, mustard, and pickle onion on there. That's my go-to, or relish, but usually it's pickle for me. We're discussing hot dog theory after the fall of the hot dog. I'm just really never going to live that down. I'm never going to live that down, am I? And perhaps with good cause. That was a pretty ridiculous thing to say, I guess, in retrospect. In retrospect. Streaming is hard, man. It's hard. We're talking about a bunch of things, and I believe when I said fall of the hot dog, to bring it back to parenting, I was talking about my son's dietary habits, and then I had it hot dog floating around my brain, and then we try to pivot to talking about something serious, and then it's gets all mixed up. It gets all mixed up. Yeah, why don't you try streaming, folks? Why don't you try it? Do you know how many words I've spoken into this microphone and other microphones now over like 4 years? Hundreds of thousands. Hundreds of thousands. Thousands of hours I've been live on here. And yeah, every now and then, most of them real words. A solid 85% of those words have been actual words in the English language. Do you boil the hot dogs or grill them? I make them in a pan with butter, which I guess is grilled. This was basically be in the Hall of Fame with those numbers. Exactly. I would love to see anyone else do it, okay? With butter, isn't that frying them like Spam then? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it boiled, grilled, fried. I'll have them any which way. You're basically an elite athlete in speaking. Thank you. Thank you, Mistress of Insanity. You support me. The heathens in this community mock me. They tune into the show. They like hanging out with me and hearing what I have to say. And it's just this constant stream of mockery and derision. And then a small minority of people in the chat support me and say supportive things and are kind. It's really something else. Anyway, so I'll just say one more time. Actually, it won't be one more time. I gotta go hard on the calls to action today because I have less time. But if you can, please do subscribe to this program. In addition to conversations about hot dogs and burgers and food and stuff like that, and beverages, sodas, I do a lot of journalism and analysis and interviews. I've had some really fantastic guests on this show, including Ugopnik. I just spoke to Vijay Prashad the other day. Always talking to really cool and interesting people on here. So if you can, please do support this show. To clarify, mostly hot dogs. Yeah, just to clarify. What does your dad do for a living? Well, yesterday he sat at the computer for an hour and talked about hot dogs. I mean, sometimes that's what it is. I don't know. Don't ask me to explain it. I was Twitch's number one
you're gonna have good
hot
old
dog
Rob
blogger.
To,
it's a hot blog,
this.
even. I'm a hot blogger. Diego, thank you very much for the gifted sub. Speaking of them, I'm at the Costco food court getting one right now. Fucking hell yeah. Hell yeah. New Insurgents Pop define woke too. At the end, thanks actually Up the Reds for reminding me. That's not only do I do this stream, I also host the Insurgents podcast with my friend Jordan Yule. We just put out a brand new episode of that, which I encourage people to listen to. It was a really good conversation. We have a lot of really great guests, but this was just a talk with me and Jordan, and it was really good, and I think you should listen to it.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Oh my goodness, Comrade Bushy, thank you so much for the very kind and generous 5 gifted subs. I really, really appreciate that. And as you can hear, for Comrade Bushy, if you do subscribe to this program, and when you gift 5 subs and above, it does put you immediately right into that elite tier of the Friendship Triangle system, which is Twitch's only 2-dimensional triangle-shaped friendship access and trickle-down clout-tiered reward system. And if you're not sold on being part of this community or supporting this show, or you want to know what this Friendship Triangle system is all about, I have prepared a little orientation onboarding video for you if you want to know more about if you'd like to know more about this community and the opportunity that's in front of you right now in supporting this community. I did create this little orientation video to answer all your questions. I'm going to go ahead and play that right now.
Thank you for expressing interest in the Friendship Triangle community. We would be thrilled to have you on board as a member of our exclusive platform. As you may know, the Friendship Triangle is Twitch's only two-dimensional, triangle-shaped, friendship access and trickle-down cloud, tiered reward system. Today you have an amazing opportunity to join the base level of the Friendship Triangle system. Once you are part of the community, you'll have the ability to rise through the ranks and achieve higher levels of access and rewards. One way to do this is by gifting subscriptions to your fellow members or by inviting your friends and family members to join our community. As you ascend the tiers, you will be exposed to a range of new and exciting benefits, such as exclusive content, advanced features, and access to our elite community members. We are confident that you will enjoy all the perks that come with being part of the Friendship Triangle. However, we also want to remind you that not all friends and family members are to be trusted, especially those who may not support your new lifestyle. That's why we encourage you to focus on building meaningful relationships within our community, where you will find like-minded individuals who share your interests and values. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team. We are always here to support our members and ensure that your experience with the Friendship Triangle is enjoyable. We're glad that you are considering joining the Friendship Triangle community. We look forward to seeing you rise through the Chaos Zone and all the way into the Elite tier. It's not a cult.
There it is. Yeah. Yeah, you got to cut out those negative influences, especially family. Listen, it's like if it's a crime to try and encourage the people in this community to cut out toxic people of their lives, cutting out toxic people from their lives, whether they're friends or family or coworkers or whoever, if it's a crime to encourage you to distance yourself from toxic people, well then lock me up. Lock me up. Guilty as charged. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for trying to help you. For trying to help you cultivate relationships with people that share your interests and values. Not people that are going to ask you all kinds of questions about who you're spending time with, or what you're spending money on, or what you're interested in, You want people that are going to support you and encourage you. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I apologize for suggesting that maybe you should think about that, Anyway. Anyway, that's the community. That's the Friendship Triangle system. If you can, please do subscribe. I apologize to the people that have rated in today that, I do this show each and every day, and it's like, today's really just me trying to log on and try and move some subs for the Jeff Bezos.
You can count on me,
corporation.
Good old Rob, to talk you through all this.
That's really my main goal today, because I just don't have a lot of time because I got to take care of a sick little guy. Moist Outlets, thank you for the gifted sub. Thank you, Moist Outlets. Very much appreciated. It's not a phase, Mom. It's a triangle-shaped tiered reward system.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
And thank you to Crystal as well. Thank you, Crystal, for the gifted sub.
You can count on me.
I really appreciate
You're going to
that.
have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I watched the first episode of Three Body Problem last night. The China stuff was so heavy-handed it became laughable, but it was a pretty entertaining hour of television. That was my basic takeaway, Jay. Yeah, I think the China stuff is
to talk you through all this.
When because I know it's a big part of that story, and I know when it's.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old.
Why
Rob
is it multiple
to, talk
alerts?
You through all this.
When it gets translated for Western audiences, and like a lot of the Chinese characters that are in the book or the story get turned into Western characters, but that critique of China and the Cultural Revolution remains, it creates kind of a weird effect. Overall, though, I did still enjoy the show. I mean, there's some interesting ideas and interesting visual elements, and some cool stuff going on. So overall, I did enjoy it, but there are some kind of troubling aspects. But this is why it's good to have conversations about it and have an analysis and have a critique. they kept China in for the GPCR, removed China for all the science and leadership. Yeah, that's kind of the very problematic part of it. And Risk Inverse, thanks so much for the gifted sub as well. I really appreciate that, Risk Inverse, for that. Very cool. Very cool. That's my main thing about it. I mean, I enjoyed watching the series. I didn't absolutely love it. There's a lot to criticize about it, but so it's like, yeah, you can watch it, you can not watch it. There's a lot of things that I think are interesting or valuable in there. There's plenty to criticize, but it does, I think, present an interesting jumping off point for all kinds of interesting discussion. We were looking at the interview with the author of the book in the New Yorker the other day, and just it was so, regardless of what you think about the show or whether you watch it or don't watch it or whatever, like, this interview was so illustrative of like this kind of like Western colonial mentality that a lot of journalists have, how these Western journalists don't recognize that they themselves are cogs in this vast disinformation machine, and that they themselves are propagating government talking points and government propaganda. And they think it's unthinkable, this idea that perhaps they've been the victims of brainwashing or indoctrination or anything like that. And these people just can't imagine. They can't even imagine people that would suggest that. The scourge of Chinese diaspora woman journalists must be stopped. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's specifically a gendered thing, but I think overall, you have this situation where you have like people in the Chinese diaspora that are taken in the West as some kind of like authority on China. And are only people that have a certain critique of it, and you don't have anyone that actually like presents the alternative version of that. It's not propaganda when it's from our institutions. That's right, and you can apply this to a lot of other ethnic groups as well that get used, and their identity gets kind of weaponized by these kind of media establishments in order to make certain critiques and lessen the accusations of some kind of like racial motivation of it. But yeah, you do see a lot of that in the flourishing China bad media industry. There's plenty of those folks, and that's the thing. Is like people would say to me like, how can you tell like a Chinese person what to think, or how dare you criticize that? Like they were born there, like their families are from there. But it's like when you talk about China, like, and the author pointed this out to the person doing the interview the other day. If you've lived in America for the last 30 years, you really know nothing about like modern, what's happening in China currently. Even China from like 15 years ago to today is this huge drastic change that's happened. Even a few years ago, like even pre-pandemic and now. This idea that just because your family's from there or you came to America or Canada as a child, that you have some kind of like special knowledge or analysis or the access to information that other people don't have is not even really accurate, I don't think. Hey, people, don't listen to anyone that says you can't cash in your clout. Rob has assured us there's enough clout in the triangle to cover everyone at every level. I mean, it is most concentrated up at the top tiers, I must say, but there is, no matter what level of the triangle that you're in, there is clout for the taking. It's like all the people from Cuba who've been living in the US since 1950s. First, exactly. All these people are like, I'm Cuban. You're going to tell me about communism? I'm Cuban. And it's like, sir, you live in Miami, Florida. Like, and it's like your grandfather was some Batista era like police captain who tortured dissidents and came to the US during the revolution. And they're like, I know communism ruined my family. They stole my grandfather's plantation. My grandfather was persecuted just because he tortured people and was a soldier in Batista's fascist army. Yeah, I was raised by a racist Cuban grandmother. I bet you feel pretty ridiculous now. Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. It's like I said, it's not exclusive to one like ethnic group, but you see people that like have their identity that gets weaponized basically to promote certain narratives that are favorable to the US government. And what was the question you said? What was the moral clarity line? Yeah, that's what the person was like. Oh, because I'm American and Western, and I have this unflinching sense of morality. And to him, he thought I was the brainwashed one. I was just like, oh my goodness. Can you say that with a straight face? You're American. My unflinching sense of morality. Lived in America for the last 30 years. Jesus Christ. Unbending sense of morality. Yeah. So silly. And frankly, this is not, some people don't like discussing this, but that's what a lot of the criticism about the USSR as well comes from the same, and certain, influential leaders of the USSR as well. In fact, the most successful and most popular leader of the USSR, and in fact, one of the most successful and popular and influential leaders in world history. And a lot of the criticism of this individual come from these kinds of groups who were negatively impacted by certain policies because of their or their family's economic status. Anyway, it's a lot of the same thing when it comes to anyone from these socialist projects. Everyone who lived like me had lived under communism will agree. Says person born after 1991, or someone that was born in 1987 and then was a child in 1991. It's like everything sucks. I wonder why. I wonder why that is. I wonder. There's just no way of knowing. Of course, we're talking about Gorbachev. Exactly, he brought Pizza Hut to the masses. That's why he should go on the the communism Mount Rushmore. That drawing with the Marx, Engels, Lenin, Stalin, Mao, Gorbachev. He brought Pizza Hut to the masses. I think probably my most, in terms of talking about Marxism, socialism, I think one of my most controversial takes, and it probably won't be controversial in this community, but we talked about China a few moments ago and three body problem. I kind of think after Mao, I'm sorry to say, I think we gotta put on our boy Deng Xiaoping and President Xi. I think he's carving out a spot for himself on there as well. Is that controversial? I don't know. Maybe it is. But there's no modern China without Deng Xiaoping, that's for sure. In the same way that there's no modern China without Mao. And even if you point to mistakes that happened, or you point, which certainly you can point to under Deng Xiaoping, but you point to mistakes that happened under Mao and the ways that things like the Cultural Revolution, were quite excessive in some cases. The famines that were going on, tied to the Great Leap Forward, all that stuff. Their mistakes happen, but there's certainly that's all part of this process, though, of putting theory into practice. That's why socialism is a science, right? Because you put the theory into practice, and you change the practice depending on which culture you're part of, and the different kind of distinctive characteristics that it might have. And it doesn't mean that it always is going to work. It doesn't mean that it's always going to be perfect. But you put theory into practice, you see what works, what doesn't work, and then you synthesize something and you keep pushing forward. China's current absolute dictator, Mao Zedong. You could probably do one of those like daily show style interviews and go and try and convince people that that's what his name is, and a lot of people would probably be like, yeah, that guy. Anyway, I think you got to put both those guys on there. I think when you see the, China's current role, it's like its growth as a geopolitical and geostrategic rival to U.S. and providing a counter to U.S. imperialism. What it's doing with poverty alleviation, what it's doing with the Belt and Road Initiative, developing lesser developed nations. None of it happens without our boy Deng Xiaoping. And that's just the reality. So I think he's got to be on there. How do we think that the big development company in China going bankrupt is going to do without a bailout? I don't know. It's something that I would like to talk to someone that has more intimate knowledge about like the Chinese economy. I think that's the main thing that I've been trying to think about when it comes to like, because I know China does currently have. I should have Ben Norton come on to talk about that. That'd be great. He's been on the show before, and it would be great to have him back. But I think it's most people will tell you that there are economic problems going on in China right now. But I think that's part of our mistake when we have this kind of Western style kind of capitalist mentality, measuring things on this quarter by quarter basis, when I don't think that's their method for setting economic policy. They're thinking in terms of like years and decades and generations, not quarter by quarter profits for like property developers or real estate companies. So that's something that I do try to keep in mind, while also acknowledging that like there are issues and there are problems. It would be good to have Ben Norton on. I think that would be really great. Those economic problems are directly tied to the perspectives of WSJ readers. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say about it. It's the kind of thing that I don't like to opine on too much, because when I think about like the stock market and numbers and the economy, my brain starts to kind of slowly throb inside my skull. So it's really something that I would have to have someone that has more of a intimate knowledge or familiarity of it to come on to talk to us about it. I don't want to speculate too much, or I'm always cognizant doing this show of like when I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I try to avoid opining too much on things that I really don't know all that much about. So I know that sets me apart from certain other streamers, but it's one thing that I try to do is not talk out of my ass entirely when I don't really know what I'm talking about. I know certain individuals think that you can just look at a Wikipedia article and you instantly become an expert in something. I don't think that's actually how it works, though. You know? I try to defer to people that are like actual experts, or people that have actually studied something or talked about it a lot or analyzed it a lot. That's how whether or not medicines work. Well, I mean, it is a source of some knowledge, just, not, I don't think it's the only, for certain topics, it's not the only thing you want to look at. Not naming any names, Mr. Benelli. That bit of purposely fucking up someone's name over and over again, that's just such a great low-key way to disrespect someone. I absolutely love that. I really do. I think that's really fantastic. I wonder if I should try to get Norm Finkelstein to come on this show. I wonder if he would. I could probably get his contact from Katie Halper. He's the master of casual contempt. Is really good. Yeah, it never hurts to ask. That's always been my what I tell myself, trying to reach out to people to for in the podcasting or work that I've been doing. You know, why not? That's always been my case. There's people have ignored me or people have said no before, but it's like, you know, you don't get anywhere if you don't at least try. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. That's what my mom would tell me. That's something I used to do to my old boss before I quit that I hated. He just saying their name incorrectly is the best O, and it's really great. Yeah. I don't know if anyone saw, but I did destroy Brianna Wu in the marketplace of ideas. Brianna Wu, I mean, I've just tried not to engage with too much of her anything that she's been talking about, but really, I think someone has just completely just debased themselves, whatever kind of credibility that she might have had prior to that. All this stuff about Shifa Hospital. We've been taught, we covered the story of Shifa Hospital over the last couple of days, and the absolute horror show that was uncovered there. She literally didn't even answer your question. No, because she's a dumbass. She's a dumbass. So this is the showing the hospital. Just this absolute scene of carnage and destruction. It says, this is Al Shifa Hospital now. This is the biggest and most specialized hospital in the Strip. Israel destroyed it, burnt it to ashes. If this doesn't make you angry, then fuck you and fuck your humanity. Brianna Wu says, fact check. Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad turned Al Shifa Hospital into a command center. Just like in that Netanyahu tweet where he showed all the CGI graphics. You know? At this point, under international law, it became a valid military target. First of all, I don't believe that that's true, but okay. I don't think international law actually does say that it's okay to bomb hospitals and kill doctors and nurses and patients, even if it does get turned into a command center. I don't believe that international law says that at all. It says there's no current evidence any civilians were killed. That's just a lie. Though that might change. The dead bodies you're seeing are the militants who were given a chance to surrender and chose to fight back with mortars, grenades, and assault weapons. And this is all part of her fact check. It's obviously heartbreaking to see a hospital destroyed, particularly as there's a crisis of medical care. But the people that chose that battlefield isn't Israel. It's Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad. And so this is her fact check, and her fact check is this piece in the Wall Street Journal. Israel's campaign at Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital reveals gaps in effort to subdue Hamas. And this is the evidence that she's sharing, explaining that there is no civilian casualties and it wasn't a war crime and it was Hamas's fault. So that's interesting in and of itself. But then when she you get into the screenshots. And this is from the article. This is her evidence and proof. Last November, Israel's military declared Al-Shifa cleared of militants and withdrew from the hospital's central Gaza City neighborhood. Then earlier this year, Hamas militants returned to the area in force, Israel says, and Israeli soldiers were dispatched to take them on. 2 weeks of heavy fighting in and around Al-Shifa, led by Shayatet 13, Israel's equivalent of the U.S. Navy SEALs, began with a surprise raid on the complex and ended Monday with much of the hospital destroyed, patients traumatized, and thousands of others, including some medical staff, forced to leave or be detained. Many suspected militants and others in the hospital surrendered when Israeli troops surrounded the compound, Israeli military officials said. This is her proof. This is her fact check. What about this Wall Street Journal article that's essentially just a press, like printing a press release from Israeli officials and IDF officials? That's her evidence. That's her proof that that we're all wrong, that we're all wrong for being upset about this. The battles were fierce on the perimeter of the hospital, with militants fighting Israeli soldiers outside and inside the compound with mortars, grenades, and rifle fire. They said Hamas has denied operating from Al-Shifa, and half a dozen people who were in or near the hospital before the second round of fighting said in interviews that they hadn't seen militants, which is hilarious as well because this is part of her fact check. Half a dozen people who were in or near the hospital before the second round of fighting said in interviews they hadn't seen militants. Okay, so Hamas's military wing, however, said on social media it had engaged with Israeli forces around the hospital and released what it said was footage of some of the fighting. So, I mean, again, this is her fact check. This is her evidence, which is like, it's just the Wall Street Journal reprinting statements coming from the IDF and said, we didn't do it. We didn't kill any civilians. There was Hamas guys there. It's the exact same thing they're saying about this horrific aid convoy bombing that happened the other day. There was a Hamas guy there. We thought there was a Hamas guy, but it turns out there wasn't. So it was just a big mistake. Like, that's all. That's all it ever is. And she's just using this uncritically, unquestioningly repeating this and being like, there's proof that that's not the real story. And that we shouldn't, if you feel bad about this, there's like something wrong with you. So anyway, I said, setting aside that your proof of a command center at Shifa Hospital is basically an IDF press release laundered through the Wall Street Journal. According to you, if there are IDF soldiers in an Israeli hospital, it becomes a totally valid and legal target for Hamas or whoever else. Is that right? I just said the IDF does not turn hospitals into military bases. And we went on a couple times. I don't need to read the entire exchange. I do recommend you take a look because it gets inside the mind of one of these fucking deranged Israel supporters and the complete inability to reckon with this kind of criticism. Like people were saying, it didn't actually answer the basic question that I had. You know. So just like a silly, ridiculous person who has basically just become an apologist for genocide and an unpaid comms person for the IDF and the Israeli government, probably, I guess, in the hopes of getting a job with the Democratic Party, which is it's just an absolutely sad state of affairs. It's a sad state of affairs. Anyway, I recommend you check out that exchange. I thought it was pretty interesting. I've got to go in about 5 minutes, folks. Once again, this was just a brief check-in. I'm parenting. I'm taking care of a sick little guy right now. Or I'm not, because I'm sitting here talking to you. I do have to get going soon. One final call to action. If you can, support the show by subscribing or gifting subs, or subscribing through your Amazon Prime account, your Twitch Prime sub. Please do if you can. It helps keep the show on the air. Like I said, I couldn't really afford to take a day off from doing this, so if you want to support the work that I do on here, please do subscribe if you can. It's the only way that I'm able to keep doing the show each and every day, is if people do subscribe and support the work that I do. If you just came here for the first time today with the raid from Ugopnik, I hope you do come back. I do. It's, this stream is usually longer and less just like me doing calls to action to get people to subscribe. It's just a necessity that I had to kind of do today. Oh boy. My whole tailbone section is starting to become very sore from sitting in this desk all the time. I don't know if that's too much information. We usually talk about hot dogs for a couple hours.
You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this. You can count on me.
Diego,
You're gonna have good
thank you
old
for another
Rob
gifted
to
sub.
talk you through all this.
And thank you, Weenus, as well. Weenus of Lore, thank you for the gifted sub. Also, appreciate you, Diego, and appreciate you as well, Weenus. My sweet Weenus, as I sometimes say. Yeah, really appreciate the support. Thank you. Do we have any other takers? Does anyone else want to subscribe and support this program? Do we hear 20? Do we hear 20 subs? Is 20 subs a possibility? That's within reach. That's reasonable.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
The stream isn't usually like this. More usually it's 4 hours of investment tips. Last time we covered how investing in weapons companies and wars is very good.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Listen, the line's going up. Do you want the line to go up or don't you? Okay? We're not in the business of morality. We're in the business of making money. All right?
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to
oh,
talk you
goodness.
through
Anon,
all
thank you
this.
for the 5 gifted subs. That's very, very kind of you. Thank you so much, Anon. Our most he is risen.
Count on me.
He or
You're gonna have
she or
good
they
old
is
Rob
risen.
to talk you through all this.
Thank you, Anon, for 5 gifted subs. I really appreciate that very, very much. And thank you,
can count on
Dimitri,
me.
as
You're
well,
gonna have
for the
good
200
old Rob
bits.
to talk you through all this.
Very, very cool.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all
You're
this.
totally owning me with these subs, exactly. And now I was planning on going, and now I can't.
You can count on me. You're going to have good
I
old
can't go
Rob
because now there's a
to talk you
scam
through all
train
this.
going. Are PayPal notifications offline? Again, they shouldn't be. I haven't made any kind of change to that. Oh, Barfcast. I'm so sorry that I don't know why that wouldn't trigger an alert. It's supposed to. I have no idea why that wouldn't work. But just received $100 from our friend Barfcast. Barfcast, you've been so unbelievably generous over the years supporting this program. Thank you, Barfcast, for the $100. That is extremely kind of you. And believe me, I really, really appreciate all the support that I've gotten from you over the years. Really means a lot. It really does. Thank you so much, Barfcast, for that.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
And Chaos the Gardener as well. Thank you for the 3 gifted subs from Chaos the Gardener. Very, very kind of you, Chaos the Gardener. Thank you for the 3 gifted subs as well. This community is so cool and extremely generous. And I got to tell you, it's something that I really, really do appreciate. And it's not something that I ever lose sight of. Believe you me. Believe you me, he says. Like an old-timey guy. Wow. Token Vegan says, I just subbed, which is very cool. Thank you, Token Vegan. I don't have an alert from that, but maybe there's some kind of an alert issue. But thank you, Token Vegan. Old-timey Rob, they're calling him. Apparently there's a 5th Matrix movie in development. I was just talking about this yesterday. What was I saying yesterday? Because I just watched The Matrix. The night before last. What was I saying? Give me more Matrix stuff. Give me a Matrix. I was saying a Matrix series, but like a new Matrix film is. I'm hyped by that. I saw people being against it or like being against the idea. I don't know why. It's like it might be bad. If it's bad, I don't want it, but it could be good as well. Why not bring some interesting creative voices into this franchise where there's this big, rich lore and mythology? That all kinds of stuff you can explore. And if you bring on someone cool and it's being produced by the Wachowskis,
you can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
And who was it that's doing it? With Drew Goddard. When he's done a couple of cool things too. Yeah, he wrote the script from The Martian, which is another movie that I watched just the other day as well. All kinds of weird coincidences going on. I talked about The Martian and I talked about The Matrix. Yeah, he wrote the script for The Martian. He wrote Cloverfield as well, and I love Cloverfield. I don't know how people feel about that. I absolutely love Cloverfield. I think it's tremendous. World War Z, which I don't like very much. Also served as writer-director on Cabin in the Woods. I think it seems like a pretty interesting voice to bring onto this franchise. I'm hyped by this, honestly. I'd be hyped for a new Matrix film, and I think it's going to be good. Someone's watching my stream. If only I could get give me a consulting fee for this. This is big business. This is big money. Paul Flaherty Memorial Subbies. Yeah, shout out to Paul Flaherty, comedy legend. Comedy legend Paul Flaherty. And interesting personal note, I actually studied screenwriting with David Flaherty, Paul Flaherty's brother. I did a course in comic script writing that was taught by David Flaherty. So I worked with him on a couple of things. Very cool guy, and definitely helped me a lot. I wrote a couple of things that he gave me notes on. We talked about screenwriting, and it was cool. I wrote an episode of It's Always Sunny and an episode of Community, and both of them were pretty good, honestly. I think they were both pretty good. Yeah, Joe. Like when I was studying screenwriting, like that's what you do to get experience. You just write spec scripts for like existing series. So Joe, I didn't write the actual shows that were filmed. Like, to be clear, what I'm saying is that if that wasn't clear, what I'm saying is that as a exercise, I wrote spec scripts for those series as just like a writing exercise, a screenwriting exercise. But they were both good, honestly. I was pretty happy with both of them, and David Flaherty agreed. He gave me pretty good feedback on those. And I'm actually currently writing a TV series right now. I don't talk about it that much, and it's been ongoing for like quite a while. But I am working on a TV series with my friend Abdul, who's like an actual screenwriter as well. So maybe that's gonna turn into something. Maybe it won't. I don't know. It'd be pretty cool if it would. I'm trying to keep my expectations low on that, but it is something that I'm really kind of interested in doing, and something that I've been thinking about for a really long time. So I wrote Community Season 4. No, I didn't. No, the episode of Community that I wrote was called Fight Club Club. And it was about like a Fight Club like society that starts at Greendale College, where they hang out to watch the movie Fight Club. And it's like a Troy and Abed, like Tyler Durden kind of thing. It was pretty good though, I think. It was good. I was really obsessed with Community for a while, and then haven't really watched it or thought about it for quite a while. But like around that time, this is around 10 years ago, I loved Dan Harmon, and I loved Community, and I loved Harmontown and all that stuff. And the It's Always Sunny episode that I wrote was called Charlie Has a Drug Overdose. It's fun. It's fun doing that kind of thing. I would like to write just as an exercise, write for some other classic shows. Like I would love to write an episode of Seinfeld or like Star Trek: The Next Generation or something like that. It would be fun. I like screenwriting. I think it's a really cool format for telling stories. I guess one reason that I kind of stopped doing it though is because when you're screenwriting, it's really, really hard to get it in front of anyone, let alone get it made into an actual thing that people see. It's like virtually impossible unless you like know somebody in the industry. So it just it seemed like there was such a low level of reward for the time spent doing it that I kind of just like stopped. But because of a bunch of random kind of coincidences and the fact that I had like met a lot of people and have a bigger platform now just from talking about politics, it kind of got back on my radar, and I realized like, oh, I might be able to reach some people with this kind of stuff. Jerry goes to a pro-Israel rally. Jerry dates a girl that's like a free Palestine person. So you're saying she supports Hamas. She supports Hamas! She supports Hamas, baby! That's just my brief riffing. It would need a bit more work. Jerry dates a girl who's pro-Palestine. He tells her to stop listening to her high school peers. Yeah, that would be a good way to attack that. It's just that high school immaturity. What's the deal with Hamas food? Jesus. Okay. So I'm going to get going, folks. Thanks again for just tuning in briefly. Thanks for supporting the show. If you really want to subscribe, you still can do that. If you felt like it, it's still a possibility. I am going to go now, though. It's been great to hang out with each and every one of you. I appreciate it a lot. I don't know what's going to be going on tomorrow, because I don't know what's going on with this illness situation. But I really appreciate everyone tuning in and hanging out for a little bit and supporting the show. I really appreciate it a lot. Okay. What are we doing here? We got Sean Vids.
I like to be able to do Lion's Claws.
We got a Sean Vids live. Do we do a Sean Vids raid? I think we can do that. Sean Vids has been doing a lot of really good. He's just gaming. I don't know if it's going to be what the conversation is going to be like, but he's been boosting my content. Sean Vids featured one of my tweets in his latest video. A cool person with great values. unapologetically speaks up about a lot of things that earns him a lot of...
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
A lot of ire from people. Anon, thank you for another 5 gifted subs.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Thank you so much, Anon. That's really, really kind of you.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
The most Christ-like of all sub-gifters.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old
There
Rob
is only 3 to
talk
go.
you through all this.
There is only three subs to go. I'm just saying.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to
done
talk
very
you
well.
through all this.
The fact that I've almost completed the sub goal is fantastic for the brief amount of time that I've been on here. There is only a measly 3 to go, though, to get to the goal. Wouldn't that be cool in the next, 20 seconds? Wouldn't that be cool? That would be so exciting. But no, you're probably not interested in that. I don't know. Whatever. Believe me, folks, I'm very grateful for the support. Believe me. I'm so thankful. But I have to do this. I have to. I've been psychologically conditioned by Jeff Bezos. I'll see you folks tomorrow, okay? Goodbye.